Hey guys, on this episode of One Percenter Podcast, I have none other than Aaron Moreno in the house. He's done so much. He's been in Shark Tank. He had 4 successful companies helping males become more manly with their style, with their hair, with the way they present themselves, and just more importantly in their personal branding. So if you like this episode, comment, like, subscribe, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Hey guys, welcome to the One Percenter Podcast. This is your host Sam Bakhtiar, and I got my man Aaron Moreno in the house. What up, Aaron?
What up, Sam? Good to see you, buddy.
Bro, good to see you. Man, I'm trying to just figure out all these companies that you started. I mean, you've done so much. You know, these are some of the things that I've, written down. CEO of Pete and Pedro, men's grooming and hair product company. CEO of Tiege Hanley?
Tiege Hanley. I'm not the CEO, but I'm one of the founders. Yeah. Okay. Tiege Hanley.
Men's skincare system.
Mm-hmm.
CEO of Menfluential Media.
Not CEO, but I'm one of the partners in that as well. Yeah.
Okay. Owner, part owner, investor, and CEO of Enemy Shades.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm the CEO of that one, and Pete and Pedro and Alpha M. Yep.
Okay, you're the host of Menfluential Conference.
Yeah.
And you've been on Shark Tank twice.
Yes, sir.
All right. First and foremost, man, I wanted to know about these companies because shit, I'm a man. I want to be, alpha male, alpha M, and you got men's grooming stuff. You got some shit from me or what?
I got stuff for everybody, Sam. I do. Yeah. I mean, it all kind of started with the Alpha M YouTube channel. I got into YouTube like super early. I like you. Got bit by the fitness bug at the age of 12, right? My mom gave me a fitness membership and that was it.
Membership where? What was your first fitness membership at?
It was called Body Transit. It was in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, man. Right outside.
Wait a second.
Nah.
Are you from Pennsylvania?
I'm from PA, man. Yeah.
Me too. What's the name?
It was Collegeville, right outside of Philly, small suburb outside of Philly.
Because I'm from the other side, closer to Pittsburgh, but I went to Penn State.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so I had kind of like a rough childhood. Had some stepfathers that weren't amazing.
Two stepfathers.
Yeah, two stepfathers.
Tell me about this because I want to know.
Yeah, no, it was, my mom, my mother and my father, they had me when they were super young, right? Like 18, 19 years old. It didn't work out. My parents are the best, right? But, there were some stepfathers. My mom was a little bit unlucky in love, did her best, but I think with, everybody does their best, but, it was just one of those situations where they were a little bit emotionally abusive. And so from a young age, I learned to kind of just like keep my mouth shut, and my self-esteem was in the gutter, and I just didn't want to move. I didn't want to rock the boat, and so I kept quiet. And 12 years old, my mom gave me a gym membership. It's what I wanted. I saw Rocky, right? I saw Rocky fighting the Russian. I'm like, yeah, I'm like
movies, the Rocky movies.
Yeah, man. I'm like, if a body can look like that, that's what I want, right? And so. And so I got a membership, and from that point, everything changed. It was where I sort of found myself, and my voice and my confidence. I felt incredible. And I knew at the age of 12, that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Fast forward, graduated college, went to WVU, and majored in business management, minored in marketing, another minor in community health promotion. I was my idea of success from the age of 12 was to own a chain of fitness centers. And so got out, met a guy. I started working at Bally's, and I moved to Atlanta.
Bally's too, bro. I worked at Bally's. When I came to California, I worked at Bally's as a personal trainer when I was going to school. We have so much in common. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. And so met a guy, and he's like, hey, let's open a nutrition store. I said, great. It wasn't a fitness center, but it was, I always knew I wanted to work for myself. And so we did it. We opened 2 nutrition stores, but this was back in the age of like Furanone dihydro, Blue Nitro, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And that sort of, when that changed in terms of the legality of selling that.
So refresh my memory.
Yeah.
So what year was this?
This was back in 98 when we opened it.
So that's when you had like Firewater, you remember those things?
I don't know.
they had like, compounds that was like kind of like GHB, but it wasn't like GHB. And then
Yep.
they had like compounds like, it was like one molecule away from being a steroid.
Yep. Yep.
So
Substrate solutions, all those like back in the day, man. Yeah. There was a company, I think there was a product called Triax that literally like just shredded fat off you. I mean, this was back in the day when the supplements were really effective, but then the FDA sort of came in and like, wait a second.
it's a little too effective, man. A little too
Exactly. And so we opened up 2 nutrition stores. We were selling this stuff called like Blue Nitro. It was like a belt cleaner, but people were taking it and it was like GHB, right? And so, when that became like a schedule, whatever class, product, he wanted to keep selling it. And so he got this like big, 55-gallon drum of it was essentially, it was a cleaner they used to strip paint off boats. And you dilute it and he wanted to sell it. It was good money. And I decided that it was time for me to go because I'm
gonna die, man. Fuck that.
Yeah. No, it was time for me to go. And so during that time, I met a woman, helped her lose 100 pounds. And she came to me one day. She says, "Hey, I want to help other people do the same thing you helped me with. And so would you be interested in starting a fitness center with me or a personal training studio?" And I was like, "Yep." And so we did. We opened we signed the lease to our fitness center, or small little training studio, on the September 11th, which should have been an omen that's how that business was gonna unfold. Fast forward, a few years, things were good. We weren't making a lot of money, but I was happy because I was doing what I love. I was working, 90, 100 hours a week, making like $24,000 a year, but it was okay because it was my dream, man. And then, long story short, we tried to expand. We came up with this concept of a group fitness facility. We had to raise a little bit of money. We raised like $125,000. And at the time it might as well have been, $5 million.
Yes.
More money than I had ever seen in my life. And so long story short, we started trying to do this like group fitness facility, and we were planning on franchising it. It was around the time that Curves was real big and popular. And we had some issues with one of our investors and my partner, a lot of legal battles. And at that point, I was taking money off my credit cards just to pay my staff. And I ended up driving a beer cart at a country club in order to, make ends meet.
What's a beer cart? I've never seen
a beer cart. So basically, if you go to a golf cart or a golf course, they typically have like these pretty girls driving these like carts around with like vodka and drinks and beer to give the golfers. But it was a job I could do. And so I went and it was me and all these, women. I was 30 years old. I had a fitness center. I was trying to franchise this business. And
but you're a handsome guy, but you're not a pretty girl, man.
No.
So they had, they had you do what like girls normally do. So you had a girl.
Man. Yeah, hey, I'm not proud. Hey, when you're hungry, you'll do anything, right? And so, yeah, I did that for a little while. And then we ended up having to file bankruptcy, close the business. And the worst part about that whole time, it wasn't the fact that I was driving a beer cart, I was filing bankruptcy. It was that I didn't know what my dream was anymore. I didn't know what success looked like. And so, that was the most devastating point and the lowest point of my life. And, I decided that I needed to do something. And so why not start like an image consulting business, try and do that. I had a friend that I took shopping.
What made you even think about when you said, why not start a thing? There's got to be like a trigger. There's got to be like that you were passionate about or something like, well, man, people come to me and ask me for styling. What triggered that thought?
Yeah. There was a buddy of mine who at the fitness center, his name is Steve. And he came to me one day and he's like, "Hey, I have a date. I don't know what to wear." And I said, well, why don't I come over to your place and see what you have? And while we're at it, your nose hairs are crazy and I'll take you to get a haircut. Lo and behold, I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was building a structure of an actual service.
Love it.
So, about a week later, one of his coworkers called me and said, "Hey, can you do that to my husband?" And that's kind of that light bulb moment. I said, I think people actually pay for this. Yeah. And this was back in like 2005, 2006. And so it was before, the internet was really popular. And so at that point, the only real thing out there was like GQ magazine and Esquire. And I figured there was possibly a niche in just a regular guy who just happens to know more about, you know, manscaping and shoes than he does football. And so that was the audience I targeted, and it was fairly successful. You know, this was back in the day when you could actually advertise on Google for a few bucks. You know, this was not, you know, what it is now. And so started advertising my services and had a website, and some guys would fly in from around the country to spend the day with me. I'd take them shopping and help them get straight.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So how did the image consulting company evolve?
So then it evolved. My wife in 2008 gave me a video camera for a Christmas gift, right? And I had no idea. I thought she was just freaky and wanted to film something, and so it wasn't that, apparently. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't that, but from that, then I decided that I was going to start filming some of these, you know, sort of lessons and putting it on YouTube. I was not tech savvy in the least bit. It took me, you know, like 2 weeks to figure out how to actually operate the video camera, and I figured out back in 2008 how to upload a video. And it was from that point that everything started to change, because I got my first comment. I got my first comment on a YouTube video. And I think at that point, I realized that somebody was actually interested in my opinion, and I was validated. And that, I think, was what I was searching for my entire life. Even, you know, with the fitness center, it was to feel valued and to feel like I was making a difference. And so that was the point at which I felt like I could change, you know, somebody and help somebody. And so that was sort of how that happened.
So right now you have like, what, almost 6 million subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's not that I was that good. It was that I was early. And, you know, that was one of the, it was not that I planned any of it. It was not that I was smart enough to see a trend. I was just lucky in the fact that I just have a big mouth and a video camera, man. And I started posting videos. And so there was no, you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. For me, it's never worked that way. I just kind of figure things out as I go. And as long as I'm happy, I'll keep, you know, doing what I'm doing.
It's funny you say that, man, because, you know, my business partner's son, Austin McBroom, you know, he has the #1 YouTube TV show in the world called The Ace Family. And I knew him when I was a kid, and now he's like making 30, 40 million a year. And I told him, like, dude, like, what did you do? He goes, bro, I just started and I just kept posting every day. Just kept posting every day. Kept posting every day. And I'm like, you know, and sometimes he goes, you know, nobody viewed the videos, like 10 views, but he goes, he kept posting. He just said the consistency and everything. It seems like that's exactly what you did.
Yep.
Just posting and kept posting. Obviously, you have you know, you said that you're good on camera, you know, and you know, tech savvy, like, you know, you just keep creating content. And golly, man, what would I give to have 6 million subscribers, you know, on my YouTube channel, man? I'm I'm about you know, 5.5 million short.
Keep posting, Sam. Keep posting, baby.
Bro, I love it. So tell me, you know, how that evolved to other ventures.
Yeah, sure. So for the first, I would say 5 or 6 years of YouTube, because I've been doing it now for, you know, around 11, 12 years. I didn't do any sponsorship. I really didn't make any money. I had some e-products that I started selling, like an ebook. I had like a mail style guide I came out with.
All right, Aaron,
and then
stop for a second. So did I hear this correctly? You said for the first 5, 6 years of doing all this content on YouTube, you were really not making any money.
No money.
All right. That's what I want our readers, our listeners, and our viewers to know. So you did basically 5, 6 years of work and no return on it.
Nope.
Okay.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question right now. You know, and I hate to, you know, stop you. I'm gonna let you finish where you started. You know, you don't have to tell me exact numbers. You know, but what do you make in YouTube right now? 6 figures, 7 figures from YouTube?
Yeah. So YouTube. Okay. So YouTube for me has a few different components to it, right? I look at YouTube as sort of my train, the engine, and then off off of that, and because I've been able to sort of leverage, you know, my voice and an audience, and they trust me, and I deliver them, you know, solid content that they you know enjoy, and the products that I put out are products that solve a problem for them. I make money a bunch of different ways. So I make money through the Google advertising, you know, the AdSense, but that's really small. Just and when I say small, it's relative, right? You know, but then I also started an advertising agency because I was getting bombarded by people that wanted me to talk about products. And so about 4 years ago, I was at my family reunion, and one of my best friends came, and he was in car sales. And I said, you know, I'm real tired of selling advertising. Do you think you could actually sell, you know, me, and just sort of be the middleman, and sell the advertising for me, and just let me do what I do really well and what I love doing, which is make content. And so, you know, it was real scary for me because it was the first time I hired somebody, and I said to him, I said, well, how much money do you need to make in order to just like pay your bills? And he said, $5,000 a month. I said, okay. I said, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pay $5,000 a month for 3 months. If this isn't working in 3 months, we got to pull the plug, and, you know, we got to maintain our friendship. And it was so successful right away that we ended up, you know, bringing in another one of my buddies who I met, that does YouTube, Antonio Centeno. And we started a company called Menfluential Media. And so now we sell advertising for about 30 to 40 of the big guys in our sort of lifestyle space, some car guys, some, you know, different genres, but all basically revolving around the men's lifestyle influencers. So another part of my YouTube money is doing product promotions for other companies like Dollar Shave Club, you know, Chassis, you know, there's a ton of them. And then from the YouTube channel, I also started these other auxiliary businesses: Pete and Pedro, the men's grooming company, Tiege Hanley, the skincare company. Oops, sorry, damn, I thought I put that on silent. The skincare company, and then the Enemy Shade. So all of these other sort of businesses kind of are fed by this audience. Now the trick though is, you know, trying to build these businesses outside of me, because I can get it started. I can grow it to a certain level and percent or point, but then it's about taking it to that next level and getting it away from me. And that's what some of the struggles have been. And you know, I'm happy to say though that Tiege Hanley and Pete and Pedro have kind of figured that out. So
that's crazy, man. So from you put in 5 years of work with no return at any time during that 5 years. Like, man, maybe I shouldn't be fucking doing these videos. This shit don't work. You know, maybe I should just go do something else, get a job. You know, did it ever cross you? And then how did it feel the first time you like, wait a second, I'm actually getting paid for this.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'm sorry for cursing, but it was when I had $5,000 in my bank account. That's when I had fuck you money. Like from that point, I'm like, fuck it. Like I'm good. Right. Because like I grew up poor, and I was poor, you know, pretty much up until I had $5,000 in my bank account. And it was at that point, like that was like the biggest trigger for me, because for my entire life, every single day I'd wake up and think about how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to pay my bills. Every single day, that is the number one thing when you're broke that you're thinking about. How am I going to make a buck to pay my bills? And so when I had $5,000 in my bank account, that was the first day I realized something. I said, I didn't think about money today. That's crazy. The next day, same thing. I didn't think about money. I had $5,000. I could pay my bills for 2 months. And that is when everything sort of just in my life changed, because instead of, you know, focusing and thinking all about money all day, there was this portion of my brain that was able to be free and actually start thinking and doing things that I loved and enjoyed and I was passionate about, as opposed to just hustle to hustle.
Yeah, you weren't on fight or flight no more. You were in creative mode. You know, when you're in your sympathetic nervous system or your fight or flight, it's hard for you to think other than anything but survival. But when you have a little bit of survival, a little bit of cushion, you know, that's when you can be creative, you can be free and start doing bigger picture stuff. I love that. And you know what? Where I'm from in Pennsylvania, $5,000 is a lot of fucking money back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. So tell me about how the hell did you um, get in Shark Tank?
Yeah, no, that was another one of those sort of, I'm a creature of opportunity. I try things. If they work, great. If they don't, okay, I'll move on. Once you fail like miserably hard, and I consider my fitness center, the first big failure of my life. And when you fail at something that big, it makes trying things not that scary, because it's like, what am I what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm going to be bankrupt and driving a beer cart. Okay. Got that done that
already.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as I don't end up there, I'm kind of ahead of things. Right. And so I decided, this is back when I was trying to figure out how to make money off of this YouTube and this audience. And so I created this DVD series. There was this dude, actually his name is Ben Altadonna. He's a big like chiropractic. He lives in California. He reached out to me, and we sort of developed a friendship for a little while, where this was sort of the first sort of like, I was learning about information products, and it's not something that I had any experience in. It's not something that I had any knowledge in, but I was starting to learn about that and realize that this is how a lot of people could, make some money. And so he basically got me thinking about it. And I started this thing called the Alpha M Style System, where I created this sort of fashion formula and I put it on DVDs. And that's how tech savvy I was. They were DVDs. This is back when you can actually load it into your computer. And so I was talking to my dad. He said, well, how are you going to try and sell it? I said, I don't know. He said, you should try Shark Tank. And I said, all right. And so I literally went home from having coffee with my dad, sent the producers at Shark Tank, and went to the ABC website and said, hey, I want to be on Shark Tank. This is my product. And got a call on Monday. And it just, the process started. 3 months later, I was pitching the Sharks.
Wow. So it's not like you had a special connection. You just fucking went for it.
Yeah. Why not? What's the worst thing, right?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. A lot of people, are looking at this. Well, how, you must have known somebody in Shark Tank, or you had a connection, or you had a great product, or you're not. No, bro. What you did, you just fucking applied.
Exactly.
You applied.
That's it.
You just put your name in the hat. You know what I mean? And that's what life is all about, man. Like, life is all about, trying, putting your name in the hat, and not saying, oh my God, you never. Yeah, it can be you. Here's one thing guaranteed. If you don't try, you're definitely not going to go get in.
Absolutely.
So might as well just fucking try. Worst case scenario, said no. You heard that 1,000 times before. We all know that, we always see a really, really pretty girl, that's dating this kind of guy that's like that. She's like way above him. You're like, why am I not dating that? The difference between you and that guy is he asked her, you didn't.
He asked her, exactly.
He just asked.
That's it.
He just asked, but that's all it was. And that's what you did, man. So, what inspired you to make these videos in the first place?
There was no, just thought that there might be a way to, just share something that I thought people might be interested in. And like I said, I think that from the fitness center to where I am now, I mean, my goal has always been the same, and that's kind of just to help people. Yeah. That's what makes me feel good about it.
I think that genuinely, and I can feel that, man.
Yeah, man.
So what are some tips?
Yeah.
For a man to become more alpha, how can an average dude just get better and more man?
Number one tip, man, start working out. That's it. Take care of your body. You take care of your body, everything in your life starts to change. You don't need it's not about six-pack abs. It's not about big delts. It's about just what it does to your mind.
Yes.
When you go to the gym, I mean, that is the single best thing and decision I ever made. It's the number one thing that has assisted me in life and dealing with hardship. And just, you always have that constant of working out and taking care of yourself. It's amazing. And so that is the number one thing that I preach to everybody. Start working out.
So if I'm a guy and I want to dress better, where do I go? How do I start?
Yeah. The internet is pretty amazing in terms of resources that are out there to learn about basic style. If somebody's looking to upgrade their style, typically when I was working with somebody in the image consulting, everybody's kind of doing the same thing. The guys aren't dressing, they're wearing big clothes. You know, if you just do some minor small things, change the fit of your jeans, maybe instead of wearing a large shirt, try the medium, see what happens. You know, if you look like a sausage, size back up. But, you know, always try the smaller size. And so I would say that is the basic place to start, is just make sure your clothes fit, make sure you're wearing nice shoes.
It's so true, man. Because I see, you know, you can wear a very expensive suit or clothes, but if it doesn't fit you, it's going to look like shit.
Absolutely.
And you can wear, you know, some real just basic clothes, and if it fits you, it looks great.
Absolutely.
So it's not the Gucci, it's not all that kind of stuff. Make sure it fits. You know what, man? What a new concept, right? What a new
exactly
concept. Simple and to the point. You know. So, what were some of the biggest struggles you faced, you know, when you were scaling your business?
Man, you know, the scaling of the business is challenging. You know, employees are one thing that's a tough thing to do in terms of, you know, figure out, you know, you're hiring. You really need to hire the smartest people, you know, people that are smarter than you. For me, the hardest part was because I'm a control freak, right? I think that I can do it. I don't want to relinquish control. And so for me, everything in all of my businesses got better when I gave the right people the keys to drive and let me do what I do. And so, you know, that goes for my advertising agency, my skincare company, and my hair care company. When I tossed the keys to somebody who actually had skills in, you know, the areas that I didn't, things got better. But it was really challenging. And I think that I know that I'd be further along in my career and professionally if I had gotten out of my own way. And so I think I am the reason why it hasn't grown as fast as it could have, if that makes sense.
So in your entrepreneurial journey, you built a bunch of companies, some of them that failed miserably and some of them that just did amazing. Mm-hmm. What were the key differences? You know, what went wrong, you know, and what went right?
You know, the ones that were right were the ones that it's like, you know, right away. For me, like I've tried other businesses along the way, even after I've had success, that they just didn't feel right for whatever reason. You know, the skincare company, that's my largest business, and that's the one that has had the biggest challenge in terms of growing and scaling, because it's a subscription business. You know, we were ignorant to our own success. When we started, it was like right away, crazy success. 2 years in, we're still like, we're killing it. We had some fundamental problems though. We had a problem with churn. Churn is that number that you hear about churn all the time in terms of, you know, when you acquire a customer, it's not, you know, about the number of you're acquiring, it's how many you're actually keeping. And so that was something that was incredibly challenging to sort of figure out. And when you're growing and when you're able to fill up that top funnel easy, you don't pay attention to
the fundamentals.
You don't worry about all these people you're losing. But then when you start to grow to a certain level, like say it's, you know, 15%. If your churn is 15%, that's not a big deal when it's 1,000 customers, but when it's 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, that 15% is a big fucking number. And so then it's about, oh shit, we can't fill this funnel up fast enough in order to grow it. And so that's what forced us to sort of reevaluate and wait a second, we've got to solve this problem that's been a problem from the beginning, but because we were successful and we saw our numbers every year,
ignored it.
Yeah. And so recently, as of last year, about 6 months ago, we started really taking an active role in fixing the churn problem, and we've dropped it. I mean, and we've improved it dramatically, and our business, we've started to see that upward, you know, trajectory again in the direction it needs to go.
Rather, we have done the same thing. When the top line is coming good, when the sales is good, when you're successful, you know, when everybody's making money, you ignore the little fundamentals. You know, but if you don't fix it, those fundamentals are going to come and bite you in the ass and take you out of business, you know, quickly. So, you know, so I've learned that the hard way as well, and now, everything starts with everything. We look at every number, look at every fundamental, and we figure out how we can optimize every single number in our funnel.
Absolutely.
So it's so funny you say that. Last question. What are some steps or key components to building a personal brand and a business brand for you?
I think authenticity needs to be number one. That's a lesson that I learned sort of the hard way. When I started doing my YouTube channel, I was looking at who was successful, and the people that were successful were people that were being crude, and they're doing a lot of tasteless things. And so I thought that that's what people wanted to see, and so I changed me in order to try and be that. And it was when I dropped the act and I just actually let people see who I was, that's when everything started to get better. And so, and people sort of buy in. People can smell bullshit a mile away. And if you're trying to front, if you're trying to put on a specific air, act a certain way, people can tell, and it's not going to resonate. The best advice is just to be authentic and tell the truth, and don't be something on camera that you're not in public. That's the one thing. YouTube has forced me to be a better person. And the reason is simply because I don't want to disappoint somebody. I don't want to say one thing and then they meet me in the street and I'm something else. That's what, a lot of these celebrities, we get so upset, like Tiger Woods, right? Remember Tiger Woods? He had this angelic perception, or people perceived him as this angelic force, when the truth is he's just a rich, good-looking dude who likes to sleep with a bunch of chicks, right? If he would have been honest up front and said, hey, I'm rich, I'm sleeping with a bunch of chicks, everyone would have been like, yeah, I get it. Go for it, Tiger. But it's when the perception doesn't equal the reality. And so that's what I've really focused on, making sure that I don't fall prey to trying to present myself in a manner that is not reality.
I love that, man. I wholeheartedly believe that everybody is unique. And if they just be themselves, they're going to have a unique audience. Is when, my pastor says something that is very, very, always sticks with me. He says, you were born original, don't die a copy.
Love it.
And that's something that resonates very well with me. And Aaron, bro, is that, no wonder that you build this great empire, and, you've done such a great thing. In your story, I hear a lot of perseverance, not being afraid to fail, falling down and getting back up, trying new things. And bro, the biggest lesson I've learned, is that, it's okay just to work, and not expect compensation right away. But if you just keep putting the work in and keep providing value, the compensation sooner or later is going to present itself.
Absolutely.
Not too many people are willing to do 5 years of work for free, not be able to monetize that. And some of the greatest people that I've talked to, greatest businessmen, bloggers, there's bloggers that say, oh yeah, man, I blogged every day for 3 years and nobody did anything. Some of the YouTubers that I know, they said, bro, I posted, nobody was watching. I just kept posting. And that goes, to your testament as well, creating such a successful company, a successful brand, bro. I'm really proud of you. It's been an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sam.
And, please let the audience know, for people who don't know where to find you and your products and everything, how can we found more of Aaron?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. If you're on YouTube watching this, where I assume most people are, you can just search Alpha M and you'll find more of me than you need. And if you go to alphaM.com, you can find links to all my businesses and entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you so much, Sam, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love the fact that our stories are so similar, and we both found fitness at such a young age, at the same age, in a point in our lives where we could have gone one or two ways. And I think that fitness, possibly saved your life as well as it saved mine.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely, Sam. Take care.
Hey guys, if you like today's episode, do me a huge favor. Go ahead and leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, leave me a review, and tag a few friends that you think can benefit from what we shared today. Really appreciate it. God bless.